Hi everyone, it's Stephanie here, and I am super excited to be sharing a video as part of the MFT Camp Create campfire that we are having tonight. This is a special bonus video that we're adding to the lineup this week, and we have a really awesome giveaway at the end, so make sure to stay tuned and you can be eligible to win that giveaway. But before we get to that, we want to create the card so you know what your craft activity is for tonight's bonfire card. So what I'm going to be doing is creating a one-layer card. I'm going to be using the Your Roarsome stamp set, and I'm going to be stamping them onto a cardstock panel and using masks so that I can keep everything one layer. And I'm going to be stamping everything with black licorice hybrid ink, and that's because I'm going to color in these images with Copic markers once I have all of the stamping done. So first we're going to go through all of the stamping. I just picked out some of the dinosaurs that I want to include on this design, and then I just started stamping everything to create my scene. For the first dinosaur, I stamped him off of the edge of the cardstock. I wanted to kind of focus the scene on towards the left-hand side of the panel. So I stamped him first, and then I covered him with the mask. And now I'm going to stamp the tree directly over top of him. And since he does have a mask over top, when I stamp the tree and then I peel off all of the masking, it's going to look like the tree is actually positioned behind the dinosaur. So that's what you want to keep in mind when you're doing any type of masking, is that anything that you want in the forefront or you want to appear like it's the closest thing to you, you want to stamp first and then mask, and then stamp any secondary images directly on top. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just stamping that tree directly on top, and then I'm going to continue with some more dinosaur images. So for this big dinosaur guy here, I decided to only use his head and stamp him on the side edge of the left-hand side and kind of make it look like he was going in towards the tree for a little snack. So I just stamped his head, and he's super cute, and I just think it's cute that he's kind of peeking over the tree. And then for the last image, I decided to use the T-Rex because he is super cute, and I just thought he kind of added to the scene, and I really wanted to include 3 friends in this scene. So I stamped him to kind of make it look like he was looking up at the little guy that was coming towards the tree, and then I have the fun guy that's standing in front of the tree. So once I got him stamped, I did end up masking off him, just mainly in the bottom area, because I am going to add a little bit of grass stamping as well, just to add a little bit more to the scene. Now when I was creating this card, I was kind of thinking in terms of this being for a child, so I didn't want to get it too crazy busy with stamping. I thought this would be the perfect amount to have stamped on the card design, and then with all the coloring that I'm going to do on the images, I thought it filled the space perfectly. So I finished the stamping of the 2 grasses, and then I very carefully peeled up the masks. And now you can see that I have everything removed, that we have all these great images, and everything is kind of layered on top of one another, but this is a complete one-layer card, and there is no dimension at all to this image. So now I can go ahead and start to color in all of the images that we've stamped. So I'm going to be using Copic markers for all of the coloring. I'm not going to show all of the coloring just because it did take me a little while. I like to do shading and use multiple shades of each of the colors to do the images, and I didn't want to spend the whole video showing all of that coloring, but I did keep the basics in. I kind of just showed a little bit of each of the images as I colored them. So you can see here, this dinosaur I'm coloring blue. I don't really know if blue dinosaurs ever existed, but I was just kind of thinking along the terms of Land Before Time. That was a very popular dinosaur series in my house, and I thought these dinosaurs really resembled that, and since I was focusing it on being for a child, I thought it would be fun to have some really fun colors. So I stamped that little guy blue, and then I added some gray to add to his toes and to his little horns. And now I'm going to color the big T-Rex, and I focused him on some yellow colors. I went with some more muted, not super bright yellows, just kind of a nice shade of yellow. And I started with my lightest color and then added darker colors to the left edge of him and kind of went lighter as I went towards his back area. And then for both of them, I added some dot detail onto their backs and onto the blue guy's face just to add a little bit of texture and dimension. And then I colored the head of the little guy peeking out into the tree purple. And I colored the tree standard tree colors, and now I just went ahead and moved on to the ground area, and I'm using all warm gray Copic markers for this area. So I first saturated the area directly underneath everything with the lightest color that I'm using, which is W3, and now I'm using W4 and W6 to add really dark shading under the actual images to look like shadows, and then I'm also adding some dot detail into the dirt to just make it look more textured and like ground. And then just to kind of add a little bit of color to the sky area, I didn't want to go crazy overboard. I just took a very, very light aqua color, and I'm kind of starting at each of the images and flicking the color outwards towards the sky and letting it just kind of blend into the white. And then I stamped the sentiment directly over top of the images, and I trimmed it down with a stitched rectangle die. and now I can adhere it to a card front. So it just is slightly smaller than my card front. I'm using stone gray as the card base, and I'm just adhering this directly onto that card base. Now I decided to do a little bit something added to this, just because I was kind of thinking this is for a child. It kind of reminds me of a coloring book page, just because it's all one layer and it just has fun color to it, and it's just a really fun, cute scene that you would find in a coloring book. So I went around the entire image and completely traced everything with a black marker. And what this did is it just kind of added to the look by really enhancing the lines around all of the images. Since we did do a lot of coloring, sometimes you kind of lose the outline of the stamp in the coloring. And I just felt like it really played on that look that it was for a child and that it was kind of like a coloring book page, because it really darkened the lines and just to me made it look like it was kind of, you know, something you would see in a coloring book. And that's going to finish the card and bring us to an awesome giveaway that's exclusive to the Campfire craft. So if you create a single layer card and link it in the inlinks on the coordinating blog post, you'll be eligible to win this amazing prize package valued at almost $200. So make sure to create a one layer card, go to the blog post, link it up so we can check it out, and some lucky winner is going to win this exclusive Campfire prize. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this little bonus video that we added into our week of camp, and we will see you tomorrow for more camp fun.